cut myself. I've ingested things like bed hooks.
Tonight on Frontline,
I swallowed a cassette Walkman.
they are schizophrenic,
In my head back and push it down my throat.
out of prison,
Fortune, the devil. They said they got a needle, a feather, and a rope.
with nowhere to go,
I became homeless for 2 years. That was rough.
and no help to cope.
Psychiatric treatment for those that are coming out of incarceration is very poor.
What would happen if you stopped taking those medications?
I started hallucinating.
You can decide to not take the medication anymore in an instant. All the good can be erased by a relapse.
Many of these mentally ill offenders wind up back in prison again and again.
Going back and forth to jail, back and forth to jail, back and forth to jail.
I see the whole community mental health system as a huge social failure. A person is going to get a better level of care while incarcerated than they're going to get if they live in the community, and that's really sad.
Tonight, the unending cycle of tragedy for the released.
He's asking if Burns is on his way.
I was in state hospital before prison and diagnosed then at the age of 16 as schizophrenic. I go through cycles where I, don't take my Thorazine willingly and stuff, and then I really, as I say it, my mind snaps. I've cut myself a lot, and I've ingested things like bed hooks, razor blades, ink pens, pencils, toothbrushes. I swallowed a cassette Walkman AM/FM radio and just crushed it up in chunks and slivers and just bend my head back and push it down my throat and then immediately drink water and swallow it. I'm like my own worst enemy. I'm really, in a sense, destroying myself psychologically and physically.
Do you think you're mentally ill, Mr. Thorpe?
No. No, I don't think I'm mentally ill.
What do you think you are?
I think I have a spiritual illness. Maybe, as I say, spiritual insanity. That's the extent of it.
Thorpe, ready?
We first met Jerry Tharp in 2004 when we made a film in Ohio about the mentally ill in prison.
And I will be a headache to you no more, B.
After serving 10 years for aggravated robbery, Jerry was about to be paroled.
I need you to sign this copy saying that you received these medications. It goes in your chart.
He was released to a halfway house with $75 and 2 weeks worth of medication.
You're not familiar with, but that's your Thorazine.
Okay.
If you have any problems, you can follow up with your primary care physician or your local health department.
If I was a betting man, what would be the odds of me coming back to prison? 0. It's been a long time, and I'm finally free. I feel good, about leaving, and I'm going to be gone. Stay gone.
Yep.
Our hope was that Jerry would stay gone, as he put it. But only 3 months later, he stopped taking his medication, robbed a pharmacy, and went back to prison. We also found out that, like Jerry, almost all of the inmates we met 5 years ago had since been released and rearrested.
Any person who leaves prison without a pretty good support system will have a very difficult time at trying to stay out of prison. And if you're mentally ill, that compounds the possibilities of you being successful in the community. I think the community knows very little about the fact that we're treating thousands of persons in our prison population with a mental illness and serious mental illnesses. And they are a population that would be at risk, not only in the institutions, but when they leave the confines of our correctional facilities.
This year alone, over 700,000 inmates are being released, the largest exodus of prisoners in America's history, and over half are mentally ill. So we went back to Ohio to find out why so many mentally ill offenders aren't making it on the outside.
The parole board let me go. The parole board said, well, we think you rehabilitated. Honest by the citizen, hard-working class person. Honest by the citizen. Believe you did the right thing, taught you a lesson by giving you 21 years, over 21 years. So they say, boom, we let you go. Here I am. I got big plans. Me and God got big plans, beautiful plans too. Keep doing the right thing. Try to better myself and abide by the laws. Keep your nose clean. Stay out of trouble.
Michael Grissett was paroled 8 months ago. He spent 21 years in prison for murder and has been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia.
Do you have voices going on right now?
No, they don't talk all the time. They listen. They can hear y'all, but y'all can't hear them. I can hear them, and what's inside me can hear them.
And what are they saying to you right now?
They ain't saying that right now. They listening. They kind of scared. You know what I'm saying?
And then when we leave, what will they start? Will they start to talk again, or what will they say?
They asked me, say, Mr. Michael Grissett, we know you're the father of God, and called God coming and being about. They say, where's our cornbread at? Are you gonna feed us today? They get the out of here. You wasn't born with nothing to eat, no money, so die. That's why I tell the voice of the devil, the voice. So they start crying. They got a needle, and they got a feather, and they got a rope. God give it to them. A needle, a feather, and a rope.
Grissett is one of 50 offenders lucky enough to get into a re-entry program in Cleveland. It's one of the few programs in Ohio that helps the seriously mentally ill transition back to the community.
Ain't no joke, though. I don't think it's nothing nice to play with.
Mr. Grissett?
The program is designed for people who have a severe mental illness or a psychotic level illness, which means they're going to be having auditory hallucinations or fixed false beliefs, delusions, and require antipsychotic medication in order to stabilize and function in a regular way.
Come on in, have a seat.
While in the program, Grissett has access to mental health treatment and sees a psychiatrist once every 2 weeks.
Give me an update for today. Right now, today, how are you doing as far as the voices go?
Fine, good, real good.
Yeah?
100%, 100%. Greater power, greater power.
So you don't feel at risk for hurting yourself or somebody else right now?
That's me and God's business, what we do. I tell you all I know.
When you have someone who's disorganized and irritable and hearing voices and maybe paranoid, the risk for negative behavior is much higher. These really are medical illnesses that require daily compliance with the medication in order to adequately treat it. We see plenty of people who, depending on their condition, can decompensate quite quickly off the medications, and certainly in the course of days sometimes, or certainly weeks, people can be quite disorganized and hallucinating and under full spell of delusions and really incapable of functioning in the community.
All right, nice seeing you today.
Same to you.
All right, have a good day.
Same to you.
But unlike Michael Grissett, most mentally ill offenders go untreated and are more likely to commit another crime.
I was upstairs getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner, And I was up there cleaning my chitlins and trying to, get my stuff done prior to the next day. And I heard him with beer bottles and bricks breaking her windows and kept calling her Bin Laden out in the middle of the street. So me and my daughter was upstairs and we kept looking out the window because I was scared as hallelujah. So we called the police.
911, what's your emergency? There's a guy that's trying to break in this lady's house, trying to open his queen's windows, and he's banging on the door. Did he have any kinds of weapons or anything in his hand? He's throwing bottles and bricks and carrying them. Okay.
When police arrived on the scene, a suspect was arrested but was released the same day. 12 hours later, he was back, still looking for Osama bin Laden.
911, what is your emergency? At my house, somebody's trying to get my door. Please hurry. Ma'am. He's trying to get in. Please hurry. Okay, they're coming. Thank you.
Lynn Moore was sentenced to 8 months for breaking and entering. He'd been arrested and released over 20 times, and this was his 4th time in prison.
Well, I had delusional thoughts about bin Laden, thinking that he was in Canton, Ohio, going to blow up different schools and different places. I hoped that he would have came out or he'd be exposed and that he would be captured. I was going to stay on my meds. It just didn't seem to, I mean, it was working, but it just, I just got tired of taking it. I figured I was cured, I was healed from it, you know. I figured I don't have no more delusions. But it popped back up saying that bin Laden was still in town, you know. And that's what the problem was. I wish I stayed on it now.
Moore, a paranoid schizophrenic, was medicated and stabilized in prison. This is his last meeting with his treatment team before he's released.
How do you feel now?
Pretty good. Yeah.
What about the delusions?
I don't have any.
None at all?
None at all.
You really need to make sure you take those medications.
Yes.
Because you know what happens when you stop. What are some of the signs that you'll look for? What would happen if you stopped taking them?
I started hallucinating different, just start getting into that the past of what I used to be, thinking about the terrorists and different things.
Okay, make sure you take those medications because once you stop taking them, that's when you get in trouble. You don't want to wind up back in prison again.
Yes.
Okay? You don't want to be waking up in some stranger's house looking for bin Laden, or, right?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, okay.
Moore has served his full sentence, so he's being released with no parole or supervision.
All right, that drawing right there is us.
All right, thank you.
For inmates released on parole, at least there's somebody that's tracking that person that's still working with the community to try to get them involved in services. Whereas the person that maxes out, they're pretty much on their own. You try to help make the connection to mental health services in the community, but mental health services are limited. So that person's out on their own to be able to advocate for themselves.
Okay, you are free. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
When you talk to some of the mental health staff, they talk about it being very difficult. They get real concerned that people that we let out, are they going to really have a chance out there?
On his first day of freedom, Lynn Moore is heading home to Canton, Ohio. But home is now a place called the Refuge of Hope, a shelter where he's stayed before.
When I see guys come out of jail, generally there's no support or buffer there to like kind of cushion their fall. It's just kind of a hard drop into reality. They've kind of broken down every other relationship they've had, whether family, friends, so they don't, there's no other place to catch them, so they end up falling here.
They take breathalyzers?
Yeah. We have guys who've been here for over a year. I think we even may have one or two who've been here over 2 years.
2 more.
All we ask is that they are making progressions towards getting themselves out of here, whatever that may be, however small those steps may be. We'll put you in bed 15. Everyone who comes in here has to take a breathalyzer before he's admitted. If he fails, he's dismissed for 30 days and then welcome to come back. We also ask that they don't do drugs. It is an expectation, but we don't have any way of enforcing it, so. Clear. So if you want to just get sheets, Doug will get you for your bed, and then it's bed 20 is the second bunk. You'll see it on the end of the bunk.
All right.
I don't think we have any color cases left, but he's trying.
Oh, don't worry about that.
I don't know if there's a color on there or not.
All right.
I don't think people understand how hard it is to transition from prison life back to everyday life. There's some dignity that's lost with coming here and saying, like, I have nowhere else to turn. You guys are kind of my last option. You're kind of at the end of your rope. You're hoping this will be a place where you turn around.
All right, fellas, lights out.
Homelessness is often part of the cycle for the mentally ill coming out of jails and prisons. And once homeless, receiving and sustaining treatment is almost impossible. So outside a homeless shelter in Columbus, Ohio, an outreach team is bringing psychiatric care to those who would otherwise fall through the cracks.
She's gonna do it, everything. Tell me to watch. I know what you're saying. I'm that bullshit.
The realities of psychiatric treatment for those that are coming out of incarceration is that it's either non-existent or very poor. People are being released with maybe 1 or 2 weeks worth of medication and told that they should follow up at this time and this date with this agency. Thanks for waiting. Which assumes that they have the judgment that they need to continue their medications as prescribed, and also assumes that they have the cognitive capacity to be proactive with phone calls, making appointments, discussing how many days of their medications they have left. So it assumes a lot.
And how come everything is still in here the way I fixed it? You haven't been taking them?
Yes, I am. I'm the one refilling.
Okay, but today's
Thursday, so...
Thursday. Okay, so you shouldn't have had these for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They should be gone.
Well, I ain't.
This isn't a population that's going to come with their planners and their organizers and keep track of their appointments and seamlessly integrate their own physical health care issues with their mental health issues and be compliant with their medications and keep them in that perfect little medication box as they live, behind a dumpster somewhere. What's more likely is that they'll come out, they'll take their medication for 3, 4, 5 days, either run out of it or lose it. Eventually, they may get into trouble for something again, and it's a chronic cycle for the people that we're seeing.
For real. She's mad goddamn.
Is this what you wanted me to have? Okay. And this is what we've been talking about on numerous occasions. You want PC because you don't feel safe.
We first met Benny Anthony in 2004 on the mental health unit of a prison in Orient, Ohio. A classic repeat offender, within weeks of his last release, he'd set his girlfriend's house on fire. This was his 3rd time in prison.
We discussed this, Mr. Anthony.
I want protective custody.
You're in your own cell.
I want protective custody.
All right.
I want protective custody. Because I'm scared.
Okay, and what are you afraid of?
Even medicated, Anthony still struggles with paranoia and believes people are trying to kill him.
They was from Texas. It's coming out of Texas. And some of them have syringes of poison, electric battery powered volts on them where they can pierce your heart or your stomach. And some of them have wooden bats like, and guns.
A year after we first met him, Anthony was released. He did well under supervision, but as soon as he went off parole, he moved to Pittsburgh, stopped taking his medication, and within a month became homeless.
In the past 2 years, Benny has been arrested 10 times. Sometimes he would have, 3 arrests in 1 month. Retail theft, loitering, harassment, a lot of defiant trespass. He broke into several buildings just to get food, open lewdness because he was urinating in the park. That was his home. But the major thread, similar thread through all of them, is that they were all related directly to his mental illness.
After a series of misdemeanors, Anthony was arrested again, this time for assault, and was held in the Allegheny County Jail.
Benny was very sick when he hit the jail. He was yelling loudly, unintelligible words. He just looked very confused. It was very clear that he was actively psychotic.
Anthony was so psychotic that he was diverted from jail to the Allegheny County Mental Health Court, a program that believes mentally ill offenders should be treated rather than punished.
We've talked about your case in chambers, and I think it appears that you hadn't been taking your medication.
In mental health court, mentally ill offenders are given probation instead of prison time. But mental health treatment is mandatory.
See you then.
Benny Anthony?
The next time we saw Anthony, he had been on probation for 4 months. Once again, under supervision, he was doing well.
Good, good. You look great.
Thank you.
It's a major difference, sir. Major difference.
Your Honor, this is a positive hearing for Mr. Anthony. Mr. Anthony resides in Gibbs Personal Care Home, and he's been maintaining his treatment and doing everything he needs to do.
That's excellent, Mr. Anthony. You know what you need to do. You figured it out, so you just got to keep it up and keep taking your medication, and you get closer and closer to graduating from the court.
Yes, sir. I've been a mental patient since 1974. That's 32 or 33 years ago. And I know what make me paranoid and what don't, If I get paranoid or something, I just go sit somewhere and think it out. And I've been working with that over the years, and I handle it pretty good. I handle my paranoia pretty good. Yeah, I handle it pretty good.
With the court's help, Anthony found a room at a group home for the mentally ill in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania.
In the past, we used to have mainly senior citizens. They're gone. Now we have mainly mentally ill, mostly men, now mostly minority men. Most of them are on public assistance of some kind. Some have been to jail. Most have been in a mental hospital. Some have been homeless, and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
We'll give you your morning minutes.
Already.
Of course, they get a room, they're bored. We provide meals for them. They get assistance with their medications. Everything that they may need assistance in.
Thank you.
But a person may refuse their meds. If they refuse them, there's nothing we can do. We can talk to them about it, let them know what could happen if they can decompensate, but they have a right to refuse their medications.
All set for you, sir.
Oh, that is.
Although the court can't force him to take medication,
Yes, ma'am.
Anthony has to see a psychiatrist once every 2 weeks.
All right. I had the opportunity to go through some of your old history.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've been through a revolving door.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
There's a pattern to it
Yeah.
about kind of when you're off your meds,
Yes, ma'am.
what happens?
So I was homeless almost 2 years, and I wasn't taking no medication. I was around all type of cutthroats too, you know. But I made it through without the medication, you know.
Did you want to be on your medication?
No, I didn't want to be on it.
Benny knows well from our conversations that he cannot do well for any consistent period of time unless he takes his medication. And each time I meet with Benny, we go through that again and again and again. Can you write a sentence for me? Symptoms have quelled. He can sit calmly. The agitation is completely gone. And I'm happy that he's responded so nicely to the medication, but just as quickly as that happened, he can decide to not take the medication anymore. And in an instant, all the good can be erased by a relapse. All bets are off.
When William Stokes last left prison, he also stopped taking his medication. Unmedicated and out of control, within a month he was back behind bars.
This is inmate Stokes. He has been very agitated. He punched a brick wall, and he also threatened staff. So the order's been given for restraints.
Stokes has been in prison 3 times. He is a schizophrenic with a long history of refusing medication.
I'll start fighting.
This inmate Stokes 421-895 being placed in 4-way restraints and given emergency medication.
I have psychotic episodes sometimes when I'm not taking the medication. I could be a real jerk. I take Clozaril, it's an antipsychotic. It's like a miracle drug. I'm a totally different person on it. I mean, I'm able to function, abide by rules set here and everything, and it's the medication that I need to be on. I take Depakote also, I take Effexor also, and I also take Trazodone and Vistaril. But the other medications, they're okay, but they don't work as well as Clozaril does. That's the main one.
Stokes has just completed a 21-month sentence for theft and is about to be released again.
Hey, Mr. Stokes.
Hello.
This time, he's hoping things will be different.
Okay, so the case manager
With the prison's help, he's been accepted into one of the few group homes in Ohio that provides mental health treatment.
Is that exciting?
Yes, it's very, yeah. It alleviates a lot of stress.
I know. Last time you left, you were pretty stressed about it.
Yeah.
We were contacted about Mr. Stokes following his release from prison. He has a horrendous history of self-mutilation. He's a spitter, he's a cutter, he's a biter. He's very, very hostile. He has been seen, I would hazard to guess, upwards of near 100 times in the emergency room. He is isolated from his family. He doesn't have a lot of support. And he's not on probation or parole. If we didn't take him this time, he would be at the homeless shelter.
Bring your blues out when you're done. All right.
I'm trying to do better this time. To not make the same mistakes. I want to do good. I don't want to fail again. It's actually, I'm at that point where failing isn't even an option. So I'm lucky enough to be going to a place specifically made for mental health. And there'll be a case manager, nurses there, staff, all kinds, you know, all the people you need to help you make it, you know. And this time, since I'm going through all this programming and stuff, they're gonna make sure I stay on my medication.
William Stokes will be living at Bridgeview Manor in Ashtabula with 15 other schizophrenic men. There's nothing else like it in Ohio. It's the only residential facility that accepts the indigent mentally ill and offers them treatment.
You just want to grab your box? Yep. We'll get it inside.
Your room is the first door.
Bridgeview Manor is our residential facility, and it was born out of frustration, really.
You share the room with 2 other gentlemen.
First room on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Here we had very severely ill people that needed residential kinds of services, and we simply couldn't find them.
Clean towels and washcloths are kept up here.
Literally within an hour drive, there were no residential facilities that could house mentally ill clients.
This way.
William,
way.
I'm George.
Hello.
Ricardo, I'm Ricardo. I've been here almost 2 years, George.
All right.
My room number 3.
Okay.
How old are you, about 30?
29.
29. Nice to meet you. The staff's really good to here.
All right.
They take good care of you.
Okay.
They give you good meals and everything.
Do you want to?
Nice to meet you.
Yep.
Jake, this is William.
Most of our residents before living here were living in various states of squalor and disarray. They were isolated, they were lonely. We've had other clients who've come from having been incarcerated, but primarily they've been homeless or living in a homeless shelter.
This is also the area where I think Sherry told you about having groups in the morning.
So what we tried to design here at Bridgeview Manor is a place where housing needs are met, first and foremost. So they live here, they have no predetermined length of stay, and whatever the client has for income, whether it be from Social Security, disability, they pay 70% of that income in rent. And clients have access to individual mental health therapy, partial hospitalization programming, which is group treatment, and case management, all within the house.
For those of you who haven't met William, he is our new resident today.
Hi, William.
Hello.
Let's give him a welcome. Does everybody? William, in the morning, we do a morning meeting. Everybody takes part in it. Some people are assigned some tasks. This is the part where we, what?
Positive for today.
Say something positive. Frank, how about you? Something positive.
I keep myself clean.
Okay, how about something else? Something about you. What are you?
Hope everybody has a nice day.
Okay. Let me give you an example. Are you a nice person? Are you happy person? Funny person?
I'm happy.
You're a happy person?
Yeah.
You definitely are that. Okay. William?
I'm a nice person.
You're a nice person. Okay. Dennis?
Didn't know what to expect. And guys here, you know, they're good people. So lots of personalities, lots of different people. It's all right. You know, nice room, nice beds, good food, people that seem to genuinely care, and that's what I need right now.
There's a huge segment of the population of people that are diagnosed with severe and persistent mental illness that will need care for the remainder of their lifetime. It's not just a matter of, okay, take some medications and learn some skills and then you can go live on your own. These clients need this level of care consistently, day after day after day, if we want them to function at this level. Of course, the danger is that when this level of care isn't available anymore, they immediately are thrown back into the situation where they're rehospitalized and reincarcerated, and the cycle kind of starts all over again.
Wake up! 6 o'clock, wake up, everybody up! 6 o'clock!
Living in a homeless shelter there's not a ton of success that you're going to see. People will make it out. They will probably not be your average story, you know. They will be the exception rather than the rule. I mean, the reality of Lynn's situation, he's got a history of alcohol and drug abuse, coupled with a mental illness. You know, the hardest thing for him will be staying clean. If he's able to stay clean, the next hardest thing will be permanent affordable housing. And then, you know, finding work, you know, the combination of three very difficult things kind of converging and happening is unlikely at best. Then staying mentally on even par will be very, very difficult just because of the environment here, coupled with already being paranoid schizophrenic. Yeah, it's difficult for people with mental illness for sure.
How much money do you have today?
$19.75. It supposed to last me at least a month. Trying to keep focused and hopefully find a job and hang on to it. Other than that, it'll be a wait. All right.
Lynn Moore used to receive $627 a month in Social Security disability, but his benefits stopped when he went to prison, and it can take months to get them going again. So today, he's meeting with a case manager, hoping for some help.
So it looks to me like your symptoms are pretty well managed right now with whatever medication they had you on.
Abilify.
Abilify?
Yeah.
All right. And this is good. You're feeling pretty empowered, seeing yourself as a capable person, have a positive attitude. All those are good things.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, the main thing is going to be getting your benefits back, right? And what else? What other goals do you have for yourself?
Just to find employment, and that's the main thing.
The main thing?
Yeah.
So you want to get back to work?
Yeah.
What type of work would you like to do?
Construction or restaurant work.
Okay. So the first step is probably going to start looking in the paper.
Yeah.
Putting in applications. How many applications do you think you want to do a week? You don't want to overwhelm yourself.
No, I don't.
You know.
At least a couple.
At least a couple, like 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll make that your first objective. So that means you're going to apply for 1 to 2 jobs per week. So that means that I'm going to encourage, I'll link you to whatever I can and address concerns. Okay.
I see the whole community mental health system as a huge social failure and a huge moral obligation that we're not meeting, because we went from institutionalization to nothing. And in many cases, a person is going to get a better level of care while incarcerated than they're going to get if they live in the community. And that's really sad, but it's what happens.
When state psychiatric hospitals closed in the 1970s, the seriously mentally ill were left with nowhere to turn, and prisons became the new asylums. Keith Williams, more than anyone we met, represented the failure of deinstitutionalization. Years ago, he might have spent his life at a state hospital. Instead, he was sent to prison, and that's where we first met him. He had just finished a 2-year sentence and was about to be released.
And where are you going to go?
Toledo, Ohio. St. Paul's. Yeah, pretty much.
And is your family there?
No, I'm not close to my family anymore. Been away too long. I just, St. Paul's, and then after that, somewhere else with my people.
Who are your people?
My mom is Angel's Cats.
And where are they living?
They live all over the world. If I'm not mistaken, they live all over the world. All over the world. All over the world.
Williams was taken to a homeless shelter, but within a month, he was back in jail. 5 years later, we found him again at one of the last remaining state psychiatric hospitals in Ohio.
I'm doing a whole lot better. I feel great. I feel happy. I had the confidence to stay out of jail and move on, push on. There's a lot more bigger things that go in life than just, going back and forth to jail, back and forth to jail, back and forth to jail, back and forth to hospitals, back and forth to hospitals, back and forth to hospitals, back and forth to hospitals. So so I feel like $1 million, $1,250, $250 there. Yeah, I feel great. I feel great.
We're here this morning to discuss Keith Williams. Mr. Williams has an extensive history of psych admissions and a variety of diagnoses over the year, including the present one of schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and this is his 18th admission to our facility.
Keith is on Depakote, Seroquel, and Risperdal, but the typical thing is he does well, he responds to medication, but once he's discharged, he's non-compliant, and he ends up either back here or in jail.
He's really well managed right now on 3 times a day medication dosing, which is difficult to expect of anybody, even without, mental illness. But that seems to be the magic bullet for him. So, therein lies the problem.
This state hospital once housed 5,000 mentally ill patients, but today there are only 110. With so few beds, even the seriously mentally ill are now held only for short-term crisis care.
Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
You want juice or water?
Juice, please.
The good news is that Keith is getting better and he is more stable, and in a sense the bad news as well is that because of this he'll be sent back into the community in Toledo, and he'll be back within 3 months, 3 to 6 probably. Probably very psychotic and hopefully not having hurt somebody out in the community, but that's always a possibility.
Once he's released, Williams will be responsible once again for taking his own medications.
And how will you know when to take them and which to take?
I would know when to take them because if I feel like, if I feel just normal, I know when to take them. But if I feel like kaboojing or like groovy or something, or conversion or something, maybe, you know what I'm saying? That's when I know I took them already. So, yeah, that'd be it too. Mm-hmm.
Today's devotion is I am that I am. Moses wanted to know not only who he was, but also who God was. Most people don't know who God is. God says that I am. That means he is whatever you lack in your life. If you lack health, God is your healer. If you lack salvation, God is your savior. If you lack finances, God is your source of supply. What do you need today?
Lynn Moore has been in here 2 months. It's almost a little over 2 months since he first arrived at the Refuge of Hope. At the beginning, he came around for meals, and I would see him, you know, on a fairly regular basis. I knew that he was following up on meetings. He was taking his medication when he was in here. He thought he was going to get housing right away, and then that kind of fell through, and then it looked like that kind of like swung his mood, like he was pretty depressed about the situation, didn't feel like there was much hope.
We pray all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
And then he failed the breathalyzer on September 5th, and so he was dismissed from our facility for 30 days. And so that's the last I know about his whereabouts.
What's your emergency?
Well, there was a guy out here busted a window out of my trailer today, and they arrested him. I don't know how he's out, but he's back here again. He's back here throwing rocks again.
What's his name?
I think the report says it's Lynn Moore. I know it's the same guy. I'm on the phone again. Well, I'm on the phone with him. I don't know what the hell's going on with that guy.
What was your name?
My name is Ron Whitmore.
Lynn Moore was arrested again. He was taken to the county jail and charged with criminal damage. It had been 3 months to the day since he was released from prison.
Go ahead and step in there for me. Go ahead and have a seat.
Lynn, just tell me how you are. What's happened this week?
I don't know, it's the devil, Antichrist, Bin Laden, Satan, Saddam. Yeah. First class 300 prospect. I don't know, it's just cigarettes, you know. You work to perfection. You try to work to perfection.
When you went to the camper last week and to the house, what were you hoping to do?
Like I said, those Bin Laden, Saddam, Antichrist, devil, Ronald Whitmore. I hope I didn't miss none. But that place is for real.
Do you think this could all be part of your illness, though, and your delusion?
I'm of a delusion. No, I don't think it's no delusion. Not no delusion. Running through the spirits and knowing which way they're going, and that's delusions. Because it's like pinpointing right exactly where he's at.
After spending 30 days in jail, Lynn Moore would be released. 1 week later, he would be arrested again. We once believed with deinstitutionalization that the mentally ill would have the same rights and freedoms as the rest of us. But for the seriously mentally ill, real freedom can be hard to define.
There is this notion of focusing on freedom, which is an important idea, of course, in our country, but what's maybe not appreciated is how free one isn't when you're being affected by schizophrenia. Maybe there was a hope when many people were in the hospitals that we could do things better in the community and that people would have more freedom. But we also see the negative side of that freedom.
Was it a good policy change to deinstitutionalize? Absolutely. But I think that it went a little bit too far, and that we do have people that are out there that really do need some level of supervision on a regular and consistent and constant basis. They are chronically mentally ill.
There are now over 1 million mentally ill inmates in prisons across the country. And within 18 months of their release, the vast majority will wind up back behind bars.
I don't promote the bringing back of state-run facilities by any stretch of the imagination. But we need to understand better how to divert persons who are mentally ill, who've committed crime, to something other than a state prison or jail. State prison, correctional facilities is not the answer.
It's been 7 months since William Stokes moved into Bridgeview Manor, and he continues to do well. Michael Grissett was hoping to complete his parole, but on January 16, 2009, he was shot to death during a robbery in his group home. 2 weeks before his court review, Benny Anthony stopped taking his medication, packed up his belongings from Gibbs' house, and disappeared. He is now back in the Allegheny County Jail. And 4 days after he was discharged from the state psychiatric hospital, Keith Williams assaulted a police officer. He is now facing 10 years in prison. Next time on Frontline, these women have been torn from their lives, taken from their families, and sold into slavery. They are victims of a multi-billion-dollar international business that traffics an estimated 500,000 women a year. Frontline goes undercover to tell the tragic story of the sex trade.
Frontline's The Released is available on DVD. To order, visit shoppbs.org or call 1-800-PLAY-PBS.
Frontline is made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you. With major funding from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. And additional funding from the Park Foundation,